Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pretty odd time for me to be doing a video at 6:07 p.m. And the date is Sunday, the 9th of February, 2025. And I was having a little bit of a hard time trying to come up with anything to shoot today. So I usually like to do one long form video a day. And when I don't have one to do, I just take the camera with me to go into town, and I did not have anything to do in town today. Nada, nothing. I couldn't even make something up. So my hip was bothering me quite a bit today, and took a muscle relaxer, so it demotivated me. But I'm more wide awake now, so I thought I'd do this. And I had some ideas about talking about some things that I experience um, as a nomad, and how if you're not prepared for these things, or these are things that you figure you're not going to like very much, the lifestyle may not be for you. It depends. And so I made a few notes here, and the first thing that came up for me is whether you're whether you're camping in your car or a van or a little bumper pulled trailer like me, or a fifth wheel, or a class A or a class C, or a schoolie, or a tent, or all manner of things that can be used to um, live in on the road. um, I found that I'm constantly upgrading or fixing something. There's always a something on my to-do list, and sometimes it's things that you need to do something right away because your water pump's not working. You got to take care of that immediately. So that's like if you can get the part, that's a same day repair because you need your water flowing. Another thing is I've had a roller shade that I want to replace one of my other shades by the head of my bed, and the roller shade got delivered about 5 weeks ago. It's still leaning in the corner, and I haven't gotten around to that, but I will. But fixing things on your own, learning how to fix things, is a skill that it's absolutely necessary. Even if you have enough money, you've got plenty of extra cash, you can pay people to do it. Depending on where you're staying, it may be you may have a hard time finding someone to do the repair. And a big draw to this kind of life is being in places like where I am right now. Look at the scenery. We got Quartzsite, Arizona. I'm in the desert, the sun setting. Um, and luckily in here, this time of year, there's RV repair guys you can get to come out here. But uh, when the season dies down in another month, they'll be scarce. You might not be able to find one. So you need to be willing to devote a lot of time to it, because even very simple repairs, something always goes wrong. Something unexpected always happens. And I'm a guy that doesn't use that. I picked it using that word always or never, those two words. I choose them with great care. And so when I say always, I think that I can't think of a repair that I've done where there wasn't some aspect of it that was unexpected and made it take a lot longer than I thought it would take. Um, if you want to keep your expenses down, you're often going to be a pretty long distance from any kind of urban centers. So there's certain things that you may need to do, like maybe even medical things that you need to do, that would require you driving pretty long distances to do so. Um, I'm considering a home base place that is an average of 30 to 35 minutes to the closest real grocery store. And that's a little bit of a concern for me. I think that's one that I could get over. I think if it were an hour or more, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But that's the kind of thing that I look at when I'm looking at having a home base. Um, Also, the concept of uncertainty, that some people really crave knowing exactly where they're going to be, exactly what the schedule is. And I'm the opposite. I actually embrace the uncertainty that, they're raising the rates dramatically here next year. So I might not, maybe I can't afford to come back to Quartzsite next year and I might have to do something else. Um, I'm looking to get hip surgery done this spring, and I won't know until this week, and maybe not even this week, but I'm hoping I'll find out this week when that can happen. And a lot depends on when it can happen, what the recovery is going to look like. Um, that will determine where I'm going to be, where I'm going to be living during that. So there's a lot of uncertainty around that. And like I said, for many people, that's in the difficulty column. To me, I embrace it. The whole idea that I can sit here at 6 o'clock at night on the 9th, Sunday, the 9th of February, and decide, you know what, I'm going to move to California tomorrow. I can load up my stuff and I can move to California with, my campmates would be disappointed and say, Rob, what are you doing? Well, I decided to leave, and I could probably convince them that this is something I really want to do, and they'd be fine with it. We'd miss each other, but I don't have commitments to be in particular places at particular times anymore. And that's uncertainty that I embrace. To me, it's a real sense of freedom. Now, how often do I decide impulsively to move? I'm going to use the other word, never. I said I like it that I can. I'm not saying that I do, but it makes me feel free that I can do it, but I don't do it. Right? Loneliness. Let me talk about loneliness for a minute. Do I experience loneliness? Yeah, I do. Sometimes I do. Not here, because at least this year, I'm looking over and there are friends parked near me, and I have contact with them every single day. And I have as much socialization as I want and need. But other times, parts of the year, I don't. Like in Pahrump, I knew a couple of people that I got to know in Pahrump, but I wasn't close to those people like I'm close to the friends here. And there were some times I was pretty lonely. I was up in Eagle Nest for a big part of the summer last summer. And I met Charlie and Diane, and it was great meeting them and spending time with Charlie and them every morning and sometimes most evenings. But they left eventually, and after they left, I felt pretty lonely. There weren't really, there were some people left there, but they weren't really people I knew, so I was feeling kind of lonely. So loneliness is a factor in this. Here's another one that is a little troublesome, and it's less to do with just the nomad lifestyle. It's a nomad lifestyle that with two pets that I love. So jetting off to Bermuda for the weekend is not possible for me. I mean, technically it's possible. I can afford to put my pets in a like a boarding place and take off and do what I want, but I don't want to do that to my pets. Here, I could leave them with friends here and take off somewhere. I feel better, but I don't like leaving my pets, and that's just a thing for me. So it restricts my non-trailer, non-RV movements. Like today, I was talking to my sister. She's turning 75 in April, and she was thinking of she lives in New York, flying out to LA where her sons live, and inviting me and my other brother to meet and celebrate her birthday with her in LA. And when she said that, I said, God, that sounds really good. And I'm thinking, well, I'll have to figure out where I'll have to take my RV and find an RV park I can stay in Los Angeles. And I guess I could do that, but that's a pretty tall order. It's kind of a logistical problem. And I barely know where to start there other than just Google. I used to love going on cruises, and I would love to go on a cruise for a week cruise somewhere. But the last time I did it, I put Dottie in a, I think I had someone coming by to the apartment. It was before I got on the road, so I got somebody to come to the apartment to change the litter box and feed George, and I put Dottie in a border place. And when I returned and got her, it's like she almost didn't recognize me, and I felt terrible about that. So the freedom to travel outside the bounds of regular nomad travel, because of my sensibilities and my preferences, I feel pretty restricted on doing that. Um, getting packages, getting mail can be a problem. Most of us use a mail forwarding service, but you really don't want to do that for like buying things on Amazon, because you're going to pay double shipping, right? They'll forward your package, but they have to reship your package to where you are, and you have to, where you are, there has to be a place that will take your package. So the best thing is if um, you're staying in a place that will accept mail and packages for you. But that's not always possible, especially if you're remotely camping someplace. I've been remotely camping in New Mexico in places where I couldn't find any kind of mail service, UPS store, FedEx store, or anywhere near that would be able to take my packages. What friends have done that have approached local businesses and say, "Hey, can I use your address to get some Amazon packages?" And they'll often, in a real small town, they'll say yes, but it can be problematic. And if you're sitting at home and you live outside Pittsburgh or Detroit or Rochester or New York City, and you're used to getting those Amazon packages in a day or two, well, forget that while you're on the road, even if you do have a good address for them. It's like out here in Quartzsite, it's at least a week to get anything, if not sometimes 10 days. So those are all things to consider. Um, I to me, if you use your head a little bit, you can the costs of doing this lifestyle can be very, very low. Um, if you have it in your head, well, I'm going to be in nice RV resorts all the time, you're not going to save much money doing that, because you can run up monthly costs of $1,000 or more in RV resorts across the country in season. Um, they're having solar and being able to live off grid like I am here. I mean, I know the price is going to go up next year here, but um, I'm here from the middle of November until the middle of April probably, and that's costing me $180. That's it, $180. And all my electricity is free, except when I occasionally use the generator. It got pretty hot the other day, and I tell you, I ran my generator to run my AC for about 2 hours, and I looked at the propane level before and after, and then calculated the cost. It cost me about $1.78 to run my air conditioner for a couple hours one day. That's nothing. I probably spend $30 to $40 a month on propane because I heat with propane, and everybody will tell you Rob's crazy. He loves it really hot at night, and I'm in the bed at 75 to 78 degrees on when it's really cold out here. So I'm burning. That's why it's $30 to $40 a month in propane. It's the heating. Otherwise, it's just a little bit of propane running my refrigerator. It really sips the propane. It doesn't take much at all. And my stove, the burners on the stove, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is the free electricity that I harvest with my solar panels. Um, so those are the things that as I'm talking here, I'm trying to think, have I missed anything? Is there maybe something else that might be a turnoff? I've discussed this many times. If you're really dependent on um, strong, fast internet all the time, and you think if you don't have if you don't have a really reliable way to get on the internet like that, then it's going to cost you some money to do that. And if you want to be able to park and stay anywhere without regard to a cellular signal, then you need to get Starlink, and that'll cost you $500 or so. I don't remember what the going rate is now on the hardware. $500 or so, and $165 a month for unlimited. Now, the only place it won't work is if, like, you're parked in a national forest and you're under a thick canopy of trees. Your Starlink isn't going to work. It won't go through the tree leaves. Um, I haven't had that problem. They sell like an extra long cord for it. I have like 125 foot or 150 foot, so I can maybe park in the shade and I can pull the dish out on the ground to a place that has a little bit view of the sky. So, but just keep that in mind. Otherwise, if there's nothing blocking um, and you get a nice view of the sky with your dish, you're going to have um, unlimited fast internet that's pretty reliable, and that could solve that problem. But like $165, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Hopefully, when they start getting some competition and so there'll be some price competition, so you'll be able to get this fast, low orbiting fast internet a lot cheaper in the future. But I think that's a few years down the road. Um, I was blessed until very recently to have a grandfathered plan that was $145 a month, but they just sent out a letter saying, "Party's over. We're switching you to the new plan. You're going to start paying $165 a month. Thanks for being a customer for so long." Some thanks, huh? Um, I'm going to guess they did it just because it's kind of a pain in the neck to track old grandfathered, and it was so for probably so few people that it wasn't really worth it to keep that maintenance on that piece of code that does that. So they just decided to expire the grandfather for that. So it's another $20 a month for me. Um, you do have to be a little bit more vigilant about a few things when you go to a new place. For example, like one of the first things I do when I get here is make sure I have the GPS coordinates of where I am. So I have it copied in my phone. I can send that to 911 if there's an emergency. And I'll do that wherever I go. If I'm going to be there overnight, I need to be able to tell 911 where I am. So that's something new to get used to. Um, the other thing is I'd like to know, especially if I'm staying more than a couple of days, I want to know where the closest emergency veterinarian place is. If Dottie has some kind of medical emergency in the middle of the night, I don't want to be wasting precious time trying to Google where's the closest emergency vet and having to make phone calls to make sure the listing is accurate. I want to know where the closest vet is, and I want to know where I am. So it's not the kind of thing that you normally think about when you're living in a permanent home. You know where you are. You know where the vet is. And you also want to know for yourself where's the closest emergency room, where's the closest hospital, how far away is the ambulance. And then we get into insurance and health insurance. You know, a lot of health insurance that you buy, other than we'll talk about Medicare in a minute. But before you get Medicare, a lot of policies will be dependent on your location. And there could be, let's say your home base is in, like me, in Pahrump, Nevada, and you buy an insurance policy there. Well, it's going to be tied to the local area. There are going to be benefits for you if you're outside the area and get sick, but they could cost a lot more if you're out of network, especially if you're using like a discounted rate insurance plan. And the same problem can occur with Medicare, with Advantage plans with Medicare. Many Advantage plans with Medicare are based locally, and there's a difference in benefits in reimbursement for out of network and in network and out of state. And you do so for that reason. As a nomad, I did not get an Advantage plan when I got Medicare. I got a Part G Medicare supplement plan, and a separate Part D medication plan. And that allows me to go anywhere in the country, and I don't have to worry about any kind of geographical boundaries. So that's expensive, though. I got my first bill for my Part G plan. It was $183. The Part D plan was $89, and then I'll be paying out of my Social Security check another $185. So you add those babies up, and that's a lot of money. That's quite a bit of money. That's over $400 a month in insurance premiums that I'm paying. But the Plan G is really the Cadillac of the Medicare supplement plans, meaning I think they're the Part B, which is doctor's visits and such. The deductible, it was $221 last year. I think it's $257 this year, and that is the only deductible I would be responsible for each year. Everything else is going to be 100% paid. But think about it. I'm paying close to $5,000 a year for that privilege. So if I end up having, in the years that I'm not really heavily using the policies, then they're getting a good deal. They're getting $5,000 out of me, and I'm not, my claims may not be anything close to that. But then if I have a year where I have a serious illness, and everybody gets a serious illness eventually, right? Some are shorter than others, some are longer than others, but we all eventually have at least a minimum of one serious illness, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't want the pressure of racking up debt for some kind of medical problem. It's worth it to me to spend that extra money. So those are things to consider that are different from when you're living in one place, that you may not be thinking about if you think about being a nomad. But to me, all those things are so, make it so worth it. I'm talking, but I'm also looking at the monitor of what you're seeing on the screen and that beautiful sunset that's happening behind me. And I'm looking this way on the other side of the camera, and I can see the rigs there, all my friends. And it's, what time is it now? It's about 6:30. And yeah, I'm wearing a jacket, but I'm wearing more of a jacket than I need to be. It's probably about 68 degrees right now. There's hardly any wind. It's pretty sweet. But so this video was for you folks sitting at home watching YouTube videos thinking, hey, this could be, maybe this is the life for me. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more information on that. If you want even more, please ask questions in the comments, and I probably won't respond to them in the comments, but what I do is the day after you put the comment in, I put out a video the next day called the comment video for that day, and I read all the comments and I answer them on video, which it's even better, isn't it? You want to hear me answer your question? Then jump on the comment video the next day, and you'll hear me read your comment and I'll answer it. There's some that I answer that are just a couple of words, but if it takes like a long time to type out, and I'm going to read it anyway in the next day, that's kind of the way I handle things. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Dottie is here. Let's let's show you Dottie. It's a turn. This is so cool. I'm going to punch a button and look what's going to happen. Boop. And we see a car, the back of a car, and a Dottie dog. Hey, Dottie, what are you doing? Are you in the video now? Are you in the video? So she's been sitting there nice and quiet the whole time, listening to me talk to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. I'm gonna try to keep my word and do one long form video a day. So I'm gonna upload this now, and it'll probably be 7 or 8 o'clock Mountain Time before it gets up there. But it will get up even on the East Coast before midnight. So I'm keeping my word. Take care. Thank you.